full-time whistle has just gone behind us here at the City Calling Stadium, and you're probably wondering why I'm been biased this week and wearing the Longford Town gear. Throwing professionalism out the window, this man has just bagged between the stripes over €700 each between myself and John. For anyone that hasn't been following it, John, talk us through your amazing bet.
Well, it was just the St Mel's prediction league, and I as I was going through them, it was like home win, home win, home win, home win, home. I got to the stage where I was like Longford at the end, throwing a home win, and then last night there was I thought it was down the pan because Drogheda had it was injury time when they got the winner, and then Shamrock Rovers scored. I think I took the roof off the house at that stage, but obviously it all came down to Longford Town tonight, and it was to be honest, it was a hell of a lot of money to risk on one game. So,
and John, you haven't placed a bet in 20 years.
No, it was just when we were doing the predictions, like 10 homes. Jeez, I wonder what the odds are on that. You know, they must be massive. So
it was over 200 to 1.
Yeah, and then I was on my way home from work on Saturday afternoon. I phoned Kieran, because obviously I have no betting account or anything. I said, stick a £5 on that for me, Kieran. And you rang me back and said, geez, that pays about £1,200. I stuck a £5 on myself.
Yeah, I didn't fancy the bet at all. Because John had rang me up because he doesn't have his own account, I said, I'll put a £5 on it as well. So we were on the same slip. So then we had the situation last night. We were ringing each other back and forth. We had the situation where I was thinking, you know, we're going into this last game, it's Longford against Shells, it's a flip of a coin, let's cash out and take $350 each out of this.
I got text saying we're cashing out, and I was like, I don't know about that.
So after him and Haw, what we did this morning, we partially cashed out. We cashed out for 100.
Somebody tweeted us and told us that we could do that. We weren't aware of that, so thank you whoever that was. I can't remember who it was now, but thank you.
So we cashed out for €177 each off a €5 bet, and if Longford could get the result tonight, we were going to get another €546. So we've come out with over €700. So John, you've definitely won the St Mel's Prediction League this week. I'm going to give you triple points on Wednesday's show.
That should be game over, Kieran.
Yeah.
That should be game over. And I think it's time that we enjoyed a few St Mel's ourselves now.
Just on the game behind us, we may as well talk about while we're here. An unbelievable performance from Longford Town, but how disappointed were you by Shelburne? They really didn't turn up tonight, did they?
No, they seem to lack a lot of fluency and a lot of long balls, and they really struggled to get anything going until late in the second half, really. So very disappointing. For you looked at the team sheets, I was like, thank God we cashed out a bit, because the names on that team sheet. But I think the big turning point was when Conan Byrne went off injured.
That was still very early on in the game, and Shells hadn't got going still at that stage.
No, they hadn't, but I still think a player like that is obviously a massive influence on the team, and they seem to lose a bit of shape. And to be fair, Longford dominated the first half. They didn't allow Shells to play.
Should have been further ahead of half time, really, shouldn't they?
Yeah, we wanted a bit of a cushion, and second half, Shells came into the match a bit more, I thought, second half. But really, Stacey in the Longford Town goal wasn't overly tested, didn't have too much to do. And it was a very, very worthy win for a very impressive Longford Town side tonight.
Should probably be noted as well that the 2 goals by Longford, 2 goalkeeping mistakes from the Shelburne goalkeeper.
Yeah, the first one, Peter Hopkins, was it?
Yeah,
with
the ball straight to him.
Yeah, and the second one, Cal Chambers at the end there, seemed to almost deflect off him, didn't it?
Yeah.
He just didn't look strong enough to stop the ball. So, 2 goals, but we're delighted. It sounds we can't be impartial tonight.
Certainly, I don't want to keep going on about Shelburne's poor performance, because you can't take away from Longford their display. We've been talking on the podcast this year, and we said although Longford, they're showing signs, they probably haven't just clicked yet, but tonight they were immense in terms of keeping the ball, in terms of possession, in terms of their shape. Again, we have to mention Conor Kenna at the back, but the entire back four was superb. I'm just looking over my shoulder here, and I can see the Shelburne boss Ian Morris. He's having a bit of a chat with a couple of his coaching staff. If you got to imagine now, we said it on the show during the week, if results like this are to continue, he could be a man under pressure with the investment that's been made there. Well,
I know it's early days in the league, but Longford now leapfrog Shelburne in the league table. So and they've lost as many as they've won. So I could put them in a little bit of pressure.
There seemed to be a real lack of fire and a real lack of hunger from their players, whereas someone like Ed Irvin for Longford, he was like a man possessed at times out there.
Yeah, he knew what it meant to us. I think we'd already done the team talk beforehand, but Longford seemed really up for that tonight. I think that the fact they were up against pre-season favourites, they're on a nice little run now, so they'll be hoping to keep that up for as long as possible.
So there we have it. The BTS bet has come in. Unbelievable stuff here. And
10 out of 10, Kieran.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
The best prediction podcast in the league. I think we can have that title now, but we're about to go.
We might have mentioned that to Mr. Byrne tonight while he was running up and down the wing.
All in good jest, of course, but we're about to go and speak to the Longford Town manager, Neil Fenn, and we might get a couple of other interviews as well, so stick with us here on BTS TV, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. And to hear myself and John on Wednesday night, Between the Stripes LOI podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or your favourite podcast platform. Longford Town manager Neil Fenn joins me at the City Calling Stadium. Longford Town have come out 2-0 winners here against Shelbourne. Neil, best performance of the season so far?
In the first half, I thought we were very good. I thought that we looked solid. We kept the ball well, and we were attacking with purpose. Second half, possibly sat a little bit too deep. Kind of couldn't really get out, and Shells had a lot of possession, a lot of pressure. But we dealt with it well. I think they had a header cleared off the line from a corner. Apart from that, it was just mainly pressure and balls into the box, which the boys dealt with really well. And in the last minute, Chambers has broke away and finished to put us 2-0 up. But really pleased with the result.
Yeah, while Longford obviously did sit a little deeper in that second half, I think it's fair to say Lee Stacey bar a couple of deflected efforts, and that one that was cleared off the line by Shane Elworthy, he wasn't overly troubled. Your back four again tonight looked solid as a rock.
Yeah, they're playing really well at the moment. They're helped by, the forwards are working hard and the midfield are all working hard. It's not just the back four doing it on their own and Lee doing it on his own. It's a team effort. And when we score, we like to think it's because the defenders have pushed up or they've played out or whatever, or played a good ball. And when we keep clean sheets, it's everybody. It's the defenders, it's the wide players working hard, which they did today. Everyone put in such a shift because Shells are a good team, and they will get better once they all find each other's game out. They will get a lot better. So they would have been probably disappointed with their first half performance, but I'm sure Ian's pleased with his second half performance.
You couldn't pick out one single player in terms of that performance tonight. It was a real team effort, and every player on the pitch put in a top class performance. But as my job, I have to pick out players to ask you about. So Anto Breslin, how good was he tonight?
He's been a really good. He's been a breath of fresh air for us. He's just a solid left back who likes to attack as well. He's just been different class since he came. He's a great lad as well. A great trainer. Wants to improve. Wants to probably play. He was at Wolves, so he probably wants to go back to England or wants to play higher. So we're delighted that we've got him, and as long as we have him, we're delighted.
I think it's fair to say at times last year, and you might have even said it yourself in interviews, there was games where you could have held on for a draw and you always went for the win, but Longford seemed to be much more composed in their approach this season. Do you think it's just down to maybe the personnel you've brought in, the likes of Conor Kenna there, even the likes of A. Dervin seem to have matured well beyond his years? You just seem to have players with good solid heads on them there, and they're able to deal with each situation as it comes at them.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably a situation where we haven't been behind yet in the league, so when that happens, then we'll have to start pushing on and having to start trying to go for goals. There's games when it depends how the game's going. If you're drawing and you think you've got a bit of momentum, then you will push people forward. If you're drawing and you're under a lot of pressure, then sometimes you just think I'll take the point. Like we did against Cabinteely, we took the point because I felt it was a good point at the time. It would have been a little bit crazy to start bombing people forward, so we took the point and we were delighted with the point. So it depends on the game, it depends on the circumstances, but I'm sure there'll be games this season that won't be tight and we will be throwing men forward.
Yeah, one of the games that could be tight is the one next week in Wexford. Big improvement from them in the last couple of weeks. They're looking a lot more solid at the back, making it very difficult for sides, especially the bigger sides in the division. So I'm sure you're expecting a tough test down in Ferry Carry Park.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you've got good coaches like Breeny and Brian down there, they'll figure it out. They'll work it out. It won't happen overnight, but they'll eventually work it out, and they will get their team solid. Will improve it, get them organised. And when you have lost a few games and you have shipped a few goals, then the first thing you need to do is get your team organised, get a base. And obviously they beat Bray, which was a big surprise for everybody, and a clean sheet against Bray. Unfortunately, last night to lose against Drogheda in the last minute. So they're doing things right. They're on the right track. So it'd be a difficult game for us, but we keep saying it every week. Every game's a difficult game. So we just need to do what we do, just go out there and try and win.
You're obviously not looking ahead to the Bray game here at home in a couple of weeks yet, but because you have a League Cup game coming up too against Derry. But in terms of that tonight out there, it was a great advert for the First Division. In terms of off the field, you had a good Shells contingent, and the home fans made an incredible racket throughout the game. It was a great atmosphere. I'm sure you're looking for even more backing now when Bray do come here in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, it's refreshing to see a good group of away supporters. It adds to the intensity of the match. It adds to there's
a bit of bite around the place.
Yeah, there is. There's a little bit of because when you're playing in an empty stadium, not that we do here at Longford, but in other stadiums where it's not as it's different. So when you've got a little bit of rivalry off the pitch as well with the singing and the atmosphere, it gives you a better product on the pitch.
Finally, how does it feel to be the man that's overseen the final result in John Bryer's bet? 10 home wins. You've earned myself and him over 700 beans each.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you two being honourable men that you will give me a few quid out of it. So
I think there's some sort of regulation against that, so I would otherwise, of course.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I'm not gambling, as long as I'm just collecting the winnings, that's fine. And I'm sure there'll be a pint bought for me somewhere along the line. But delighted for you. I don't think many people would have seen 10 wins there, and it's a good job that you spotted it, and well done.
Well, I certainly didn't spot it. I just did it because John did it, so all the credit to him. But Neil, thanks for joining us, and well done on a great result tonight.
And you, well done as well, right?